This is our final Unit 7 video, and it's going to show us how to solve rational equations. So the adding and subtracting has been very helpful to get to this point. Now we've got some equal signs. So you're going to run into two types of rational equations. You might see some like this first one, where there's just one rational expression on each side. So it's a fraction equals a fraction. Whereas some other ones you might see look like this second one over here, where you'll see that there's some addition going on the left side, and then there's a fraction on the right side. So we've got multiple terms in the second one on the left side. So the first one I think might be most students' favorites because this brings back a good old concept of cross multiplying, since we have one fraction equal to another fraction. So you can cross multiply these, so x squared times 4 minus x equals 2x times x minus 4. So to solve this, we just have to distribute and simplify and solve for x. So I'm going to distribute the x squared on my left side, so I get 4x squared minus x cubed equals, distributing the 2x times x is 2x squared minus 8x. So when we get to this point, it usually helps if we can get all of our terms on one side and have 0 on the other side. So I'm going to move everything to the right. So I'm going to have 0 equals, well, I can add the x cubed over here, and I'm going to subtract the 4x squared. The x cubed doesn't have a like term, but the 4x squared does, so make sure you're combining those like terms. So I end up with x cubed minus 2x squared minus 8x. So to solve, we need to use some factoring to help us. First, I always look for GCF, so I notice there's an x in common with each of these terms. So I'm going to factor out an x and get x squared minus 2x minus 8. Now, because I have two factors that equal 0, I can split these into two separate equations. And at this point, I can then factor the right one again, which will help me solve for x. So thinking about those magic numbers, I figure out that x minus 4 and x plus 2, those are going to multiply to negative 8 and add to negative 4. So then I get that 0 equals x minus 4 and 0 equals x plus 2. So here I get that negative 2 equals x and 4 equals x. And then don't forget I have 0 equals x up here. Whew. So we ended up with 3 solutions. However, we always have to check for extraneous solutions. We want to make sure this denominator does not ever equal 0. So if I look at both of these denominators, 4 minus x can't equal 0. That would mean that x cannot equal 4. And if I have x minus 4 can't equal 0, same thing, x cannot equal 4. So I'm going to check x equals 0 is okay, x equals negative 2 is okay, but I have x equals 4, so I'm going to throw out that answer. That is not a valid solution. It's an extraneous solution. So my final answer is just that x equals 0 and x equals negative 2. Okay, let's take a look at one more that we can't use cross multiplying for. So we notice here that since we have multiple terms on the left side, we can't cross multiply. So our first step is going to be to find a lowest common denominator. So I see this denominator right here. I'm going to factor it real quick. I get x plus 2 and x plus 1. So this is helpful. Those are both the other denominators. So my LCD is just going to be the two of them. So I need to multiply this middle fraction by x plus 1. And then my fraction on the right side, I need to multiply x plus 2. All right, so now that we got the LCD, we need to simplify. So my first fraction kind of just stays the same. And then distributing this 2x, I get 2x squared plus 2x over my LCD equals, and then here we have to FOIL, so sometimes this can take a little while, x squared plus 2x minus x minus 2 all over my LCD. Okay, so that was step 1, LCD. Step 2 is simplify. So now that we've got our lowest common denominator all the way across, for step 3, we can solve using the numerators. Because all these denominators are the same, we can just set the numerators equal to each other and it'll still hold the same value of the equation. So I'm just going to take this stuff across the top. Make sure to include these signs, that plus and that equals, and then I'll be able to solve my equation. So x minus 1 plus 2x squared plus 2x equals x squared plus 2x minus x minus 2. So I need to combine some like terms. On my left side, I've got x and 2x. So I'm going to have 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. And on my right side, I can combine my 2x and my minus x, so I get x squared plus x minus 2. All right, I'm going to move everything over to the left side so that I can solve for x. So I'm going to subtract x squared, subtract x, and add this 2. So I end up with x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 0. Using my magic numbers, I see that this factors into x plus 1 times x plus 1. So x plus 1 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, meaning that x equals -1 is the only solution we get here. And then, like we did in the last one, we have to check those restrictions. So we're going to go all the way back up and look at our LCD and figure out where can that not equal 0. So x plus 2 can't equal 0, so x can't equal -2. Well, that's okay. And then x plus 1 can't equal 0, so x can't equal -1. Uh-oh, both of these are -1. So those are not valid solutions, and since we crossed out all of our solutions, our final answer here would be no solution. So always check those restrictions at the very end in case any of your solutions are not valid. Great job, everyone.